What's going on, guys? So real quick, I just kind of want to walk you through what I'm doing now. Basically, I'm just lapping the valves. So I have some valve lapping compound here, Permatex. I think I just got this at AutoZone, and just a valve lapping tool. So it comes with like a bigger suction cup and a smaller one. So basically, I'm just taking the valves out. It's pretty straightforward. And I'm just doing little dots just on the very edge. There's probably 100,000 videos on doing this, but I just more so want to document the fact that I'm doing it. Stick it in there. And I kind of gently spin it before it touches, just so it kind of coats that top edge. And then basically, kind of like you're making fire. Just spin it and then turn it, maybe 60 degrees or so every once in a while, and do it again. You'll kind of hear it once you start having the two surfaces really start to meet up. You'll kind of start to really kind of hear it smooth out a little bit. It won't be so gritty and harsh. It'll start getting that sound to it. And then basically what I do is I take it out. I've been using a paper towel, but I'll just use this. Just wipe off the compound. It is a lot kind of like normal compound. It's kind of wettish, but it's got a lot of heavy grit in it. I just wipe it off really good so I can really kind of see the edge of the valve. And oh yeah, that looks great. Looks really good. I'm wearing my glasses because it's kind of hard to see. But basically what you want to do is just kind of wipe off the inside of the valve, and then, or the valve seat. Wipe this off really good so you can really see it. And basically what you want is it's going to be kind of like a gray, which is hard to see the color obviously, but you just want a really flat surface, from a pitted surface with a bunch of bumps and crap on it, basically, to totally flat, really smooth. You don't want to go so far that you start basically ruining your edge, where the beveled portion that you're trying to make flat starts to have a lip on it. You don't want that. And that can happen on the insides here. So it doesn't really take too much to get a good kind of really clean edge all the way around. And again, you want to make sure you're spinning it. So just basically so that no matter which way you put it back in, that it's going to have a good seal, because you basically grinded it at every angle. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to go through each head. Go through this one and go through the next one, and just make sure we got a good clean surface finish on them. I am labeling them 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit tricky to pay attention to when I put these back, but basically I put a little red mark in here, and then I'm going to take a photo of this, and so I know when I look at my photo, I know that the red mark is starting 1 and 2, and then basically it's left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's basically to the end. And so I'll know that number 1 goes there, 2 goes there, and so on and so forth. And then I'll do a different color with the other one, and because I have a little dot right here in the inside of the actual cylinder head itself that's red. So that way I'll kind of keep my orientations the same and make sure that these valves all go back in the same spots that they were grinded for. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up here and move on to the next thing. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the lifters here. These are the LS4 Delphi lifters. Pinhole on one side. The other side does not have a pinhole. Doesn't really matter which direction that the pinholes go, because it's a 360 oiling groove inside of the bore. I am going to put all the pinholes basically facing the rear of the engine, which would be towards the passenger side, or sorry, towards the driver's side, because this is a front wheel drive. I've got the lifter trays here. I believe these are just factory GM lifter trays. It's been a minute since I ordered them, but I've had all my lifters soaking in oil. I just drained the oil out, and I'm going to go ahead and insert these into here. Again, doesn't matter the orientation, but I am going to put them all one way for the pinholes. The grooves of the trays go down towards the bottom, so this is how it'll sit in there. And so yeah, basically they just go in there. One side is flat, the other side is rounded. You just push them all in. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like that. So load them all in there, and then we'll go stuff them in the motor. Real quick, something I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of assembly lube inside of the bores of the lifter trays, or of the lifter bores. Might not be super necessary, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Doesn't hurt too much, just like going around the rim. It's hard to do this with a camera. And I do have more of this. So I'm running out. Alright, I'll get my other bottle. I'll go ahead and finish this off, and then we'll go ahead and stick them in. Alright, so we got the bores all lubed up. We've got the lifters inside the lifter trays. Got all the pinholes facing the same direction. Again, it's not really critical what direction they face. We are going to do rear of the motor, which in the front wheel drive for our car is going to be kind of towards the driver's side. So what you do is you kind of stick them in here, kind of line them up, and just gently kind of push it down in there. It's kind of like that. Perfect. I like to just kind of, there's a little wobble to it, it's okay. I like to just make sure that that hole is lined up. And then we'll do the same for the other side. And then we'll put our retaining bolt and screw back in. You want to really make sure you careful with this screw. You don't want to drop it in the motor. So just hand snug. Everything now is critical because you don't want to drop nothing in these ports. I believe torque spec on this is 106 inch-pounds or 108. I'm just going to go to slightly over hand tight for it. Again, this is aluminum. You don't want to go crazy on that. You can't back out anyways because the head covers it, so that's good for that. And then up next we'll go ahead and we'll put the cylinder head on.
I think Apple needs to worry less about competing with Microsoft and worry more about doing things that are different. That's back to innovation. It's back to creativity. It's back to vision.
No one's really going to believe Apple can be successful until we get the revenues and the costs back in line, and that means we got to start growing the revenues again.
Companies have to look at everything they're doing and determine, you know, what are core competencies, what are the core parts of the business.
In a sense, Apple is trying to do too many different things. We need to focus on a handful of things and do them.
To get Chrysler fully competitive, particularly with the Japanese.
I've seen this at DuPont, I've seen it at IBM, I've seen it at Citicorp, where success starts to generate additional success.
Well, the confidence has to start with a clear vision.
Huge company, IBM's a huge company, Microsoft's a huge company, but no one has incredible emotions associated with our companies. Only Apple is really a lifestyle brand.
And companies can spend billions of dollars to build a brand. Apple does not have to do that. It's already been done.
The important thing is to build products that are wonderful and, or as Steve would say, insanely great. And it's
So, as you can see, this is a pretty diverse group of people, a lot of deep industry expertise who come together to say, hey, This world's a lot better place with a healthy Apple computer in it. Okay, next, market focus. Yeah, I can't get anyone to tell me the definitive market share number for Apple, but it's around 7% from all. Best thing in the world. It is developers, and there's $1.5 billion software industry built around this thing. This is one of the core assets of the company. And we are going to invest a lot more in it because we think it is an incredible asset, and it has yet. It needs help from other partners. It needs to help other partners. And relationships that are destructive don't help anybody in this industry as it is today. Releases, as they release on Windows during that time, their first release is going, they're going to target to have it out near the end of the year.
Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8, 9, and 10. All right, those are all at 50. Last pass is going to be 75, but I'm actually going to go to 80. So there's 70. You know, for this one, I might just use my digital guy. Whew, bad boys are on there. Two. Nice. And that is it. So that's one head torqued. Make sure that you got your perforated side with the divots face down on the head itself. The little groove cut goes just like that. little bit of assembly lube on the bottom head of that bolt, a little bit on the threads. I like to cover the whole thing and then kind of clean it off. You don't want too much, just make sure it's all coated. And I run it in a little bit and back it back out a little bit, and then just kind of hand tighten. And then what I did, followed my iPad. Basically, I did 25, well actually I did 30, 50, 75, 80. I just hit another one for 80 because I was actually going for 80. And my beep device is good, but sometimes I can overshoot it a little bit. So I went through with the click torque wrench, and I was pretty much at 80, which is what I wanted to do. Brandon first just told me just send it to 80. It's what he normally does. So also made sure that all the threads were cleaned out. So I did buy the ARP thread tap. I think it's the 11mm by 2. Cleaned all those out. A little bit of brake clean. Cleaned it all out. A little bit of lubricant in there. I did some WD-40 and then brake clean every time I was done with one. And then my compressed air. I did a bunch of brake clean in there afterwards to make sure there was no more WD-40 in it. And then I used my air compressor and just blew all the holes out. So yeah, it's pretty much good to go. I'm going to go ahead and throw some tape over top of our intake and our exhaust holes so that nothing can fall in here now. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And might go ahead and throw something in there too, just some balls of something to make sure that this is protected so nothing falls in after this point, because this head is not coming back off again. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to repeat on the other side. So we've got the head bolted down. It's all finished. Everything's looking good. I went ahead and taped off the intake and the exhaust side of the heads, just so nothing falls in there, because we're not taking these back off again. So next thing we're going to do is going to put the push rods in. Like I said, I went with the Truck Norris kit, so I have tested the push rod length on these already, and from what I see, we're good to go. So good length for it, good for our preload that we're going to do. So yeah, basically start off, I just threw this in there for now. Push rods are all cleaned out. So I did spray them with brake clean, spray the insides out with brake clean, and then I sprayed them with compressed air already. So, and then I looked through each one and inspected them in the sun, make sure that there's no gunk inside of there. So they're all clear right now. So basically what I'm going to do is, I've got my Permatex Ultra Slick Assembly Lube. I'm just going to start dipping them in here one at a time and putting the push rod in. Gonna give them a push. You don't want them to sit on the you don't want them to sit on the lifter tray wall. So sometimes they'll do that. So sometimes you just gotta kind of make sure that they're in there. Also, when they do hit, you'll feel it like a spring loadedness to it if you push on them, and that's just the spring compressing in the lifter. So that one's good. See how that one went down? It's because the lifters are caught up in the lifter tray, because I've turned the motor up and there's no resistance pushing them back down. So you first put these in, you'll just push them all down. And then they're now all sitting on the lobes. Just like that. So essentially what we're going to do, it's not too complicated. We're just going to go one at a time, and we're going to turn the motor over until the push rod falls all the way down. That way we know that it's on the flat lobe side of the cam. We know it doesn't have any lift to it. Then we're going to put the rocker on and tighten it down.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold my finger on both of these. Now I could have tightened them down. I knew that those were all the way down, but I'm just going to, for the video, sake of the video, you can see my fingers going up there. Alright, so this is starting to raise up. This one is all the way down. So we know that that one is now on the flat circle of the cam. There's no lift on that right now currently at all. One thing I did too was I had an extra trunnion, and just so that this was lined up, I've done this before where I put these on without having something down on this side, bolted down, and it'll kind of tweak the tray. So I put a trunnion in here on the circle side so it tights down properly, and then I'm going to come across this way so that it's straight and true all the way down. So got our rockers here. We did the trunnion upgrade, the BTR trunnion upgrade. So we've got clips on each side, new trunnion in there. Make sure it moves good. And then make sure that you put the bolts on the flat side where the bolt goes, not on the circle side. It's kind of easy to mix up because it goes obviously all the way around. If you're not looking to put it in the wrong way, and then you got a big problem on your hands. You don't want to tighten that down and send that and turn the motor on. So make sure it's on the flat side. Check every one. Go one at a time. So put that in there. Oh, real quick, what we're going to do is just going to drip a little bit of the Sunby lube on the tops of the springs and on the tops of the push rods. Don't need a ton, but you can help it. Try not to get it in the holes where the bolts go. Alright. So those are all coated. So we're going to take this guy, put it on there. Let me go get an 8mm. Or, yeah, I think it's 8. Okay. So, just going to line that up. Just going to hand tighten it for now. Just like that. And then essentially, we're going to torque this down to the torque spec. Turn the motor over until this push rod falls all the way as low as it'll go and then stops moving. Put the rocker on, torque it down, do the next one. Turn the motor until it falls all the way down. Now, not all these, most of these are actually going to be down in the position. I'm just doing it this way so I know that they're on the flat base of the circle as I'm going down without having to think about anything else. There's diagrams out there that show you based on where this one is, if the other ones are already flat or which ones are up and not. You don't really need to go through a full revolution on every time you put a rocker on to have it come up and go all the way back down. I'm just going to do it to be safe since it's my first time doing it. Well, first time kind of really doing it like this, trying it out. So we're going to go and do that, and we'll be back. Alright, so we're going to tighten this rocker to 24 foot-pounds. Just right there. And that's it. So now, just going to turn the motor over. Turn this over and
Alright, so that one bottomed right out. So we know that one's all the way at the bottom. So we're going to do the same one for this one. Again, we're just going to inspect our rocker, make sure that it's good, make sure the clips are on properly, they're not binding up. Everything looks good. We got our bolts on the flat side of the trunnion. Circle side is pointed down to match the bracing on the bracket. So I'm just going to put this guy in there. And again, I'm just going to hand thread it down. Alright, and there's 24. So, same thing, go to the next one. See how it lifted up and it was sitting up in the tray because there's no resistance on it. Now I'm turning that and I can feel that that's all the way at the bottom. It's not moving up, it's not moving down. So I know that's on the base circle of the cam right now. So we're going to go to our next one. Again, I'm just going to inspect it, make sure that it's good to go. Flat base of the circle. Stick this guy in there. There's 24. Alright, it's moving down, bottom down, not moving. So that's at the bottom now. Alright, inspect. Good to go. Make sure everything is in there properly. It is. They're all feeling exactly the same too, which is good. In terms of just the preload with my hand, you can kind of feel. Alright, 24. So that guy is good to go. See that one there? Now I'm moving. I can feel it's not coming up. It's not going down. It's really far down. I know that that's on the base circle. So that's the next one we're going to do. Make sure everything's good. Now this is pretty high up. I know this one right now is all the way down. But we're gonna go one at a time. So I can feel it going down right now. Yep. So
I know both of those guys are all the way at the bottom. You can tell by looking at them, they're in the same position. And this one's not moving up or down now. I know that both of these right now are all the way down. So what we're going to do is, we're going to do both of them. Again, just make sure you inspect these, make sure you got it right. You don't want to fire all this up and destroy something. Hopefully. I mean, this is a lot. This is really my first time doing a project of this size on a motor, and so there's a million videos on how to do this. There's a million videos on how to measure pushrod length. You can do it the barn way, you can do it the legitimate way. You don't have to. You don't have to do it at all if you don't want to, but it's recommended. I basically did the turn method for measuring the length and making sure at least we're decent within spec, which we were. But you could get a pushrod checker in there and put it in. Because all this stuff is measured, they sell the camp kits with the pushrod length that's for your car. For the most part, you shouldn't have an issue that you're running into, but you should check everything still. Doesn't hurt. Alright, I'm going to put this one in next. Doesn't hurt, man. Especially if you don't do this all the time. You know, you don't know what you can and can't get away with. You do it a lot, you know what you can get away with. But if you're doing this for the first time, you really don't know what you can and can't get away with, so you want to be careful, you want to do it right. You want to check all your stuff. 24. 24. And again, you can go, okay, when it's here, it's this one, this one, this one, and this one that's down, and just put them all on that on both sides. But to be honest with you, this is just as fast in my opinion. You can just go one at a time and be thorough. If you're a detail person like me, probably like going one at a time, checking each individual one, doing a little extra work. 24. And there we go. So got them all torqued down, turned the motor over a few times, torqued them all again just as wherever they were at. So they're all good. I hit them with 25, it clicked all the way around, so that's good to go. Next thing we're going to do is install the valve covers. So I did paint these. I think I got a video up on LS4 Nation of me, some painting products I used to do it, but painted these. I did get GM, I believe these are the GM bolts with the skirt on there. The grommet is in there. Essentially what I actually found is the easiest way to get those popped in is actually just put it on, tighten it down, and the grommet will pop through that hole. And then once you get them through there, you can't pull these back out easily, not without risking damaging it. So once you get them popped through by tightening it down, if they got the skirt on there, they're not coming back out. So we also know that the orientation for the valve cover is going to be this way, with the oil fill basically on the rear towards the front of the car, because we know that the drivetrain, or sorry, the pulley and accessory belt stuff is all going to be on that side. So we know, because it's a front wheel drive car, you pop the hood, that's where that's going to go. So there's really only one way these can go, and the other one obviously goes the other way. So we're going to do that. We got some Velcro gaskets right here. Pretty simple. There's little divots. Those basically just go on the divots where these are. You just lay it in there. It feels a little long, like when you put it in, almost like you have extra room, but you'll see what I mean. It'll pop in proper if you get it right. You just gotta tweak it a little bit. So I'll show you in a second. Just gonna start by, there's three, they go that way, so you know those are the right way. You start by lining the middle one up, putting it in, and you just lay it in there. It's kind of elongated with a slit in it, so just kind of push it in and just go all the way around like that. Now I will probably
end up taking these valve covers back off a couple times because I'm going to prime it and I want to see the oil flowing through the holes in the top of the rockers. But for now, we'll just put it in there. So it'll at least protect the motor from anything, dust or anything getting in here. So it might not be final assembly, but it'll be close. And it'll get some parts off my table. So you see what I'm saying? See how there's this extra left? I've noticed that with this. So kind of what I did is I push it to the long section, kind of take this out. See, you can get it to fit perfectly. You kind of gotta push it in there and just get it kind of compressed a little bit lengthwise, and then that's in all the way. So pop it in just like this. I believe these are 8mm, so let me just set that there for a second. These are a little tricky to find this hole. There it is. Once you find it, you'll feel it. Make sure my gasket's still in there good. Which it is. Again, like I said, probably not going to be the final time this goes in, so I'm not going to torque these or go in any sequence. I'm just going to hand tighten them down the grommets. Probably pop it off when I prime it, just to make sure it's getting oil flow. Sweet, there we go. And I actually got this Pontiac, well, I got the aluminum cap off of Amazon for like 10 bucks, something like that, 15 bucks. And I actually got these rubber Pontiac inserts from Etsy. Came with 4 of them. I think it's for maybe if you want to put them on your car tires, but I just measured the millimeter space size on the face of the actual cap inside there, the in cut. And then they had different millimeter versions of the circles with the logo in them. So they had like 98, 99, 100, 101, 102 millimeters or whatever. It was down in the 30s or 40s or something. But I just measured pretty close to millimeters wise, and I ordered one smaller than that one so that it would fit inside there. Worst case scenario, it wasn't too big. And then just peeled it off and stuck it in there. So they used to sell these somewhere, like actual Pontiac caps that were cool, but I couldn't find them anywhere, so kind of had to make my own by buying 2 different parts. So, but that'll be nice. It'll look really good when you pop the hood. So yeah, there we go. I'm basically just gonna go ahead and pop the valve cover on the other side, just so that we protect the internal, so nothing sprays up here. I still got the valves taped off there. So I think after this, we're gonna do sensors. So we're going to do all the sensors next. Get all those out of the way. Then it's going to be accessory drive. Pulleys, probably pulleys, alternator, all that stuff. Then it's going to be ignition stuff. Spark plugs, wires, coil pack brackets. Then intake. And then that's pretty much getting close to done right there in terms of the motor sitting on the stand. So still got a few things to figure out, but she's getting there, man. She's getting close. So I'll go ahead and pop the other side on, and we'll call it good for this part of the video. And we'll be back in the next one with sensors. Peace.